I'm going to do this a bit differently today. I'm going to at least try to. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try to. Because I think that all those steps in between help you understand all the little things that you might forget or you might not even notice. That could be, you think they're little, but really they could literally be life changing. They're messages from totems, from guides. It's elemental energy that responds to you, you know, when you're doing something, or it's your spirit guardians giving you a dream of some sort. You know, it's something profound that you either just say, oh, it's a coincidence, or you don't even realize it's connected. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about those little things that I don't normally talk about that happen. Normally I just say, I've been doing this is the update and whatever. But I feel like, and this is really why I started doing this in the beginning, this is why I started doing this vlog in the beginning, because I thought that, you know, just telling you what to do isn't enough. If I was sitting there trying to understand it, you know, I wouldn't fully understand what I had to do. And so if you are on this journey with me and seeing everything that I'm having to do, it'll help you understand more of what you must do in order to unearth that gift. Any kind of tangible magic like this takes a lot out of you. And unfortunately, I wish it wasn't true. I really do. I wish it wasn't true. But unfortunately, our chakras, which is a direct reflection of our soul, unfortunately, our chakras are physically connected to our physical bodies. And that's where it starts. So doing all this stuff to mend a shattered spirit is essential. Most of our spirits are shattered in one way or another. Most of us do have something like that. And so, unfortunately, you know, actually, that's actually not where it actually starts. It actually starts with saying, daring to say, just because it's not been seen or heard doesn't mean it's not there, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There is a good possibility that it's just hidden, and hidden for good reason. If you think about the witch hunts, you know, if no one believes you exist anymore, then they'll stop killing you, you know. So it makes sense in a way, logically, in history. But society is telling us not to believe anything like that. Society is telling us we're insane. And you have to not only admit that it's real, but preferably find other people who realize that it's real as well. There are specific tribes, you know, throughout the world who still believe in that. And I would encourage you to at least talk to at least one of those tribes if you can. If not, just, you know, just entertain the idea. And, you know, it does help to have someone tell you you're not insane. But you might not find anyone physically telling you that. So here I am telling you you're not insane right now. Okay, I'm a shapeshifter. I can shift physically, but I haven't yet been able to shift fully because of those imbalances. I've shifted partially, and I've shifted enough to know it's real. I've seen other people shift. Okay, I've witnessed that. I've seen other shapeshifters, and I've talked to people, entire tribes who believe in it. So, you know, that's actually where it starts, is getting rid of your doubt. But at the end of the day, if you don't take away anything else from this, just know that everyone likes to think they know everything, but they really don't. They don't have the ability to think for themselves most of the time. They never sat there and said, okay, I'm actually going to test this out for myself. I'm not going to expect any answers right away. If nothing happens right away, I'm not going to say, yep, see, it's not real. No. I'm actually going to diligently do this and do everything that I know I've got to do in order to get to such said accomplishment. you know, because it's not just a small test that you can do in 1 hour. It's decades long sometimes. You'll find some proof usually quicker than that, but you won't find all the proof right away. It'll be bits in here and there. And, you know, it's you sitting down realizing that, okay, this is what I am. There's a reason why I'm an animal soul or a Therian or whatever you want to call it. There's a reason why, you know, it's because I'm a shifter. And once you've determined that you have at least the potential to shift physically, which if you don't know, you can always consult your spirit guides, the ones that are there with you from birth to death. Those spirit guides and guardians will show you a path to the answer. But assuming that you know that, it is one thing to have potential to do, the ability to maybe, versus actually accomplishing it, the mastery of it. And the mastery comes in this balance, this delicate balancing act of your own strength, of who you are, not only your spirit but physically. What happens, like I said, in a lot of these, if your chakras are in balance and you try to push past that shield anyway and you try to force it to happen, you're going to get immense pain. Something's going to literally rupture and tear. You're going to die probably before you can get an ambulance, because an organ or something's going to rupture. Okay, unfortunately, I really do. I hate this, but it's true. I hate this fact, but it's true. Your chakras are directly connected to your physical body. They're directly connected to your literal organs and spine and things. Okay? So, there's no way around it. Forget trying to actually shift for a moment. 1 out of 1,000 people, maybe. 1 out of 10,000 people, most likely, will have a completely balanced spirit and not have to do this first. What I'm trying to say is most of us are going to have to do this first. So, chakra work, through either dream work, through totemic work, through just anything. You're going to have probably some past life regressions. You know, you're going to have to look really deep, at least into your current life. Really, really deep. And you're going to have to find out when and where those things shattered. Because if you don't know why and how it shattered, then you're not going to know how to fix it, are you? So, the most difficult part is retrieving that. Sometimes that shattered piece of you isn't even within your spirit. It's out in limbo somewhere, and you have to bring it back. And that's one of the most difficult pieces of it. The other difficult half is actually mending it. But when you start doing this work and you start to do the mending and you realize that all these totemic entities are there, you're not asking them to really, but they come rushing to your aid. All your guides are right there, in your face, rushing to your aid, whether you like it or not. And they're in your face, whether you like it or not. Your spirit guardians, spirit guides, the totems, everyone and everything, even, like I said, elemental factors, respond. Raw elemental energies respond. When you realize that basically all of Mother Nature hears you and is responding, you start to realize, okay, something's happening. I must be doing something right. And if you don't know how to tell what those signs are, because sometimes they're brutally obvious, like an owl flying right in front of your face. Sometimes they're really, really mundane seeming, and you have to pick apart, okay, did this just happen out of coincidence, or did it happen as a response to something? And the timing of it, you know, is half of deciding, but the other half is double checking, because you don't want to just assume, okay, that everything's about you, because it's not. It's a good example. The other day, there was a storm that would have come here anyway, whether I was here or not, whether I existed or didn't. There was a massive storm that would have come anyway. I really wanted storm energy because I hadn't had it in a while. We were desperate for the rain. But it didn't come for me specifically. It came for this entire stretch of forest. It came for the entire forest. It had nothing to do with me. Okay? It was the biggest, most massive storm I think that I've witnessed in over a decade. Okay? Really interesting thing. I'm actually doing a video about it if I haven't yet. I don't think I have. I'll do a video about it eventually. But twisters, tornadoes. People think they're random. They're not. Okay. If you're pagan, you already got the idea that stones kind of have a spirit in them, just like you and I do, just like a dog or a cat does. They're not inanimate. Neither are storms. And that's actually a really common belief in paganism and indigenous. Storms are not inanimate either. They have a spirit to them. They can think, basically, is what I'm trying to say. They can, and they will target specific spots. If you see one person, their house completely demolished, another one untouched. Storm isn't completely accurate, so unfortunately, if it's a really big, massive storm, you might have a few people who unfortunately are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they don't mean to. But you'll find that a lot of the targets, they target specific towns or specific areas, because there's a lot of bad energy in those areas, and they're trying to cleanse the forest of those areas, so to speak. They're trying to cleanse that area. And so if you just happen to be someone that, you know, is in the wrong place in the wrong time, try its best to avoid you. But it can't always. So I'm not saying just like stand out there with all the lightning and thunder and be like, yeah, you know, no. Because you can still get hurt, okay? But it'll try its best to avoid you. If you're someone or something deserving protection and deserving to be left alone, it'll try to avoid you. And what happened early this morning, this massive storm came in. Okay, bunch of hail, bunch of wind, bunch of lightning, thunder, it rattled the entire house, it shook the entire house. It was massive, very impressive. And you know, I thought there might have been a twister out there, but I didn't know. You know, because the hail it's a tin roof. The hail is so loud that I wouldn't have been able to really hear a twister, because it's so fucking loud when the hail hits that. So, you know, it's really early. I'm not a morning person. This is what I did. I'll be honest. If a fucking bomb went off in my backyard, you know what I'll do? I go right back to sleep in the morning when it's too early. I do not care. I'm not a morning person. And so all that was going on, and I just, you know, woke up and fell back asleep. Didn't think much of it at the time, right? Okay. And I woke out, and I'm looking. Actually, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this right now. I was walking out here, and I thought, you know, okay, well, you know, everything, you know, looks pretty normal until I started to get up here. You see, there's a clearing that didn't used to be there. That clearing and everything else is, you know, pretty, okay, dense. So, you know, it goes back to being pretty dense, minus the drive, okay. You get pretty dense, and there's this clearing right there. And you can see that, you know, the tops of a lot of the dead and dying trees, the really, you know, weak or dead trees, the tops of all those trees, you can see, you know, have been cut off. And so, you know, it's the interesting thing though, a lot of the you know, limbs and things. You can see some limbs, but you know, a lot of them you don't know where it went. You cannot find the missing pieces to those trees. Okay, so you know the house is fine, the coop's fine, the aviary's fine where the quail are. Everything's fine. Nothing's. The garden's fine. Everything's fine, right? You know, out that way, and you know the power lines are fine. Everything's fine, except this one little section where there were a lot of dead and dying trees. All the living trees that are healthy and strong seem to be fine as well. It's just the ones that are suffering or already dead that seem to have been touched. Now you get out here and it's just you know, a drive, so you don't know what happens, but I look for anything I can to see if I can find another path. There's a bit of a clearing out that way, but to be honest there's always been a bit of a clearing out that way, so I can't definitively say about that. Okay, but definitely, I mean, there's like nothing there. There's nothing left right there, so I know that that's different. There was not a clearing there at all before, and so okay, that it definitely came through. The twister definitely came through this way. Okay, I'm looking for any other obvious signs, right? Any other obvious signs? Okay, we're right back there. Okay, we're doing a bit of a, so I look for any obvious signs, okay, and I don't see anything obvious except for this one holly, perhaps, and maybe a bit of an extra clearing off back there, but again, like I said, that part's always been a little clear. So you see this holly, you know, most of the leaves come off the holly. A lot of the dead limbs were cut off, you know, that were not before. And you also don't see much at the bottom, so you don't know where those limbs went. You know, you can't find them. You can't find the limbs. If they just fell on their own from the wind and not a twister, you'd find the limbs nearby. And it's like this holly is almost stripped barren till you got the strong parts of the tree still intact, okay, but it's pretty much stripped barren. Yeah, that's the holly, folks. Used to be a nice bushy holly. In recent years, unfortunately, this tree has been subject to disease, and it was on its way out anyway. I can't be certain where it went from here, whether it went that way or whether it went the other way, but it definitely passed through here. And you know, anything strong, anything alive and strong, including myself, including the chickens and the quail, anything alive and strong, plant or animal, was untouched. You know, it was just the things that were already on their way out, you know, that were touched. And I thought, you know, this came right up, right, it came right within let me just okay, there that is, okay, that's the ground, that's where I'm standing, that's the house. I mean, and that's the holly back then there. So, you know, it came needlepoint accurate. You know, it came up this way and then it turned and it went that way. Instead of hitting the house, it turned and went towards the holly. If you ask me, I think the most reason why it came, well, two reasons. To cleanse of negativity. I know there's a lot of destruction that it did throughout the rest of this area around the town, but also to you know, to bring the vital necessity of life You know, the day before it was so hot and it had not rained in so long that the plants were wilting. So it cooled off the weather system, it cooled off the air, but it also brought that vital resource of life, the water. And at the same time, it took out a bunch of targets of negativity, and it also cleansed any weak, dying parts of the forest that it found. You know, at least it took the path of least resistance, so to speak. I mean, it really did. Like I said, it curved around like that. It's amazing. Just, I mean, it also missed the power lines just narrowly. It got the holly right beside the power line, but not. So, you know, it's like I said, everything else is untouched. It makes you think that it's at least responding to your presence, to your energy, to anything that is, you know, pure intent and either strong or something that deserves to be kept, you know, unharmed. And only when it's so massive that it can't go around you, maybe, would you be harmed anyway, maybe. But it tries its best, and all of those places that it targets that it did severe damage, it has the ability to either end a life or repair a life, to revive a life, you know. And it's the Apollo effect. It really is. It's that effect, you know. And if you're of pure intent, it's going to try and help you. If you're of ill intent, it's going to try and hurt you. And that's kind of the intriguing part about storm energy. But, you know, I had to sit back and say, yeah, well, I desperately needed that. You know, the garden desperately needed it, you know. But did it really come for me? No. It came for the entire forest. And so all that I can say is that it spared me of any damage. But, you know, something that I know for sure is purposefully here as a sign to me. And it took me several years. First I moved here, I think within the first year is the first burdock that I saw. It just volunteered itself, and then year after year it it explodes out of nowhere. It's said that if an herb presents itself that was not there in the beginning, especially if it presents itself like that for no apparent reason, usually it means that you know, whoever, whatever's there desperately needs it. You know, essentially, you know, I always thought burdock was about, you know, just, you know, kind of cleansing and healing and all that. And so, you know, I'd take it if I got, you know, bad cold or infection or something. And after that, I know I didn't think much of it, and I just kind of left it be there. And I didn't completely understand just how much that burdock had to offer. And so for years I was ignoring that, and I just started thinking, maybe there's so much of it now. I mean, it's literally everywhere. It's taken over in parts, and I thought maybe, you know, maybe there's a reason why it's here that I'm ignoring. And so I researched about burdock. Really, any dockweed. There's several different kinds of dockweed out there, and what I found was that dockweed actually has the ability, a unique ability, to cleanse the body of excess, especially feminine hormones. And I hate talking about this, I really do, because everyone hates me. I really hate talking about it, but I was born basically neither, and I shifted. I was told by my spirit guardians that they had instructed me to shift so that basically I wouldn't have to go through a surgery. My parents were about to, you know, try and force me to be feminine. because I was born kind of both, they were going to do surgery. And I just instinctively, I don't know, I guess I instinctively knew that I had to stay, once I shifted that way, I had to stay that way. And so I shifted more towards feminine, just enough to where, the hospital basically said, oh, it's our mistake, it's never mind, it's a girl, and that's not me, that's not my spirit. I'm mostly masculine. That's like makes up most, if not all, of my spirit. And so it's been really difficult for me all these years to live as something I'm truly not, or at least to live as something that I am only minimally. So I'm mostly feminine, but really I should be mostly masculine. And as long as I reflect what my spirit is, I don't really care what that is. As long as it's me, I don't care. And so it's not about gender really, it's about, I just want to be me. And I was told by my spirit guardians that one day I would have to shift back into who I really am. And it's a process that I'm doing through paganism, through rituals and magic, not through pills and surgery. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, the way that we did it thousands of years ago. And so there are times, because the feminine hormones are constantly up and down, there are times when it's up, when it naturally fluctuates up, it butts heads with the testosterone, and it gives me a literal migraine. And if I don't do something, no amount of pain or anything, painkiller or anything is going to do. If I don't do something, I have to, with magic, I have to cleanse that out of me. I do. Every time it happens, I've got to cleanse it out of me. And it takes a lot of my strength to do that. And so, sometimes it'll take several days for me to be able to do it completely. And what I was researching about burdock, it said that it has the unique ability to remove especially feminine hormones, excess hormones, out of the body. And so I took that, and overnight I was cured. Overnight I didn't have a headache anymore, and I was back to normal. So it was sparing me of unnecessary, prolonged suffering, and that was the whole reason. I'm thinking, well, I should have thought about that 5 years ago when it first sprouted, because I could have been doing that every time this happened. I could have been doing that and saved myself a lot of time, a lot of energy, so that I could focus on other things that are more important, instead of being out for the count for a few days. It's not normal. It's not what happens to a normal person. Like I said, because of those two hormones butt heads, and it gives me a literal migraine. So it was like, I just thought I won a lottery. If you like, by finding burdock. I mean, you would think that I finally found the reason why it was there, why it was a totemic message that I was ignoring, or only partially understanding, let's put it that way. And that was legit right there, specifically trying to get my attention. It only started coming, sprouting its head when I moved here. It wasn't here before. So, it's just, it's interesting. It really humbles you that you know, Mother Nature's listening and she's really actually trying to help you. You just have to realize it. And it's things like that that can help me heal, you know, tenfold faster than I would normally. You know, that I can not have to be interrupted with this, that I can continue on my path, you know. And I don't have all the time in the world. I don't. I talk about this a lot. My family is still out there, and you know, so is the rest of the cults they belong to. It only takes one person in charge in that cult to be like, no, the devil child shouldn't be allowed to be freely roaming in its own secluded, you know, house. It should instead be in a cage again. I wouldn't put it past him. And in fact, I know my spirit guardians have told me this freedom won't last forever. It's a window of opportunity, and if I don't take it, you know, then if I do shift physically in the future, it isn't going to be in a forest. It's going to be in a fucking cage. So it's a window of opportunity. They think that this is the best way to control me. They can control the air in the house, the air I breathe. They can put poison in it and things. And they think that is the best way to control me. And, you know, just let them think that for as long as possible, but my days are numbered before they think to change up to change up the tactic again. And so, I don't know how long I have. I don't know whether it's months or years, but I don't have long to learn this. And if I don't learn this in time, and by the way, like I said, as soon as I shift, I still got trackers in me. So they're still going to be tracking me for a bit. But at least I'll be free. And I'll deal with what has to come to that later. With the tracking, I'll deal with that later. I have the ability, the animal side of me as an animal, to do things that I couldn't as a human. To hide in plain sight especially, and to fight back in ways I couldn't as a human. So I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is it's getting to a point where I can be balanced enough to do that. Because right now I can still only shift partially. Sometimes things are just so overwhelming that you've got too much stuff to fix and you need a little bit of a boost. And I think that is with, you know, what I find with herbs and totems, either totemic messages or something like that. It's just always something that comes to you at the most dire of times when you need it most. And, you know, it's profound and it's humbling. It's always very humbling. Because you don't expect anything to answer you back. And when it does, you know, when your prayers essentially are your pleads and cries are answered by not just someone or something, but basically all of Mother Nature, it seems like it's watching you and it tries to help you, you know. That gives you a lot more confidence in your own mind and knowing that you're not alone and that it's real. But it also helps you get past through the things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to conquer on your own. And whether that be your spirit guardians helping you, a totem helping you, an herb or whatever, elemental energy, whatever. It's just always something that, you know, it volunteers itself. You never go out there and try to find it. It's something that just gets thrown in your face like, here I am, you know. the very second that I actually start making strides in something and believing that I can do this and all that, and the very second that I really sit down and try, the owl totems come. They've always been here, but they will get really vocal, and you won't hear them for months, and then all of a sudden you'll hear them immediately. So they've been kind of idly sitting there watching you but not saying anything. And when you finally do something, you know, and try to cleanse yourself of that negativity, which in seeing the hidden truth and cleansing of negativity, that's kind of what owl totem's about. When you're doing that, it's like they respond vocally. Raven totem's another one that responds vocally. Deer totem responds when I have to being told to take chances and to just do things and take a leap of faith. Some things are just so profound that you know that this only thing that it could be is a sign. But other times it's like the burdock, where it just kind of passes by you, and you're like, fuck, I wish I would have thought of that sooner, you know. It's the little things that help you succeed in the long run. You think they're small, you think they're insignificant, but it ends up being what either makes you fail or makes you succeed. I cannot stress that enough. The little things like that are actually huge. They're ginormous. There's no words for it, really. Blue jays is another one that will come like at a time when I am doubting my own ability. And the blue jays about, you know, all about, you know, basically reminding you of your strength and your inner strength and your hidden strength. And, you know, they'll just kind of get me out of that funk that I'm in, or hear the sound, or at least see the bird fly in front of my face, and I'll instinctively know, okay, that's why they're there. It's because I've been in too much doubt lately, you know. And also the moment that I start believing in myself, they also get really vocal then. So it's just, it's a roller coaster of events, and I cannot fully explain it, but it's things like that. And to one individual, you're not going to understand the significance of it unless it happens to you, and just how much it profoundly affects you. But things like that, most definitely. Really powerful dreams from your spirit guardians, every once in a while, to back up what is happening with the totems, especially. So, and I actually would consider, you know, storm energy can essentially be a raw elemental energy, but I actually do consider it a totem because it carries more than one element in it. And it's, like I said, it's got a spirit to it. So even things like that could be trying to tell you something. On the days where you're just giving up, it's a completely different kind of day. Everything that I absolutely fucking hate is all around me. All those arrogant, cheapy little squeaking songbirds are everywhere. They won't shut the fuck up, and everything is just pissing me off everywhere. You know, it's too bright, it's too sunny, it's too hot. You know, I feel like when I give up, those days get worse, and they get more prevalent. And when I start trying again, those days go away, mostly. So, you know, it's battle of mind over, mind over matter. But it's also something a lot bigger than you. It's like the universe is trying to tell you something. And when you finally understand what it's trying to tell you, that's the moment that's life-changing. So when you're doing all this chakra work and this healing work and unearthing all this deep fucking shit with your baggage of your life and past lives, there will be times where you get those moments where, like, Mother Earth, nature, the universe even, just like feels like it's directly speaking to you. And in those moments, you're going to get like an epiphany type thing happen. And that is going to be what helps you mend the rest of the way. And you may need several of those moments for several different parts of your life. But that is what really does make or break success. It's not just what happens, it's the metaphorical, that's a bad way to put it. It's the spiritual essence, the deeper meaning, the deeper emotional meaning behind it also that is driving you. Not just what happened, but why it happened and how it happened. And the gratefulness that comes along with that. I know that's a lot to understand and take in, and I know that I'm not the best at explaining things, but if you're going to take away anything from this, just know that most people, even though they say that they know everything, and if they think they know everything, and they know how everything works and everything, most people don't know fuck. In fact, there's a lot of shit that I don't know. So when someone tells you that you're wrong, or you can't, or you're insane, I wouldn't believe them unless you've actually tested that theory out yourself completely and fully. You know, don't ever, whatever, I don't care what it is, don't ever assume that what people tell you is true. If I assume what people tell me is true, then my Abrahamic culty family would have been able to convince me that I was an evil demon and that all I would do throughout my entire life was be evil, and that I should be punished, and that I deserve punishment, and that I deserve to die a very slow and painful death. Not only that, but I would be, instead of being accepting of everyone and understanding that my family's views are wrong, you know, and not trusting my family, I would have blindly trusted only what they said and not tried to make my own, conclusions about things. And I would be probably sexist and racist and all those other things that they are. But I'm not, because I dared to think for myself and make my own discoveries before I trusted anyone's opinion. And that's what you're going to have to do. With anything, much less something this deep and this forgotten. This magic is really forgotten. It's really forgotten. Most people don't even remember it. Not even pagan. So it's essential for something like this. But I'll say it again, you're not insane. It's real. And if, keyword if, you are born with this gift, you will need to be told that by somebody probably at least once before you believe it. Hopefully, if no one else tells you, there you go, I just said it, I just told you. I know I'm not much, but at least I'm something, right? Okay. I don't know when the next one will be, the next vlog will be. I guess whenever I've got something new to tell you.